Hi everybody, I'm Tracy Kryling. Welcome to May So Fun. We really miss you at the store. Just make sure you stop by our stores in a few months or a few weeks to look at all the samples in person, pick up your So Fun gift, see what else we've got going in the store. We've got a few new machines out, and just check out the store. We really miss seeing you guys, so just come by and see us all. So we're going to get started this time with the cutest bag ever. It's my Coca-Cola bag. It's by Annie's. It's an MJ's Messenger bag. I used OD Coat with this bag. This is some stuff. It's kind of like waterproofing for your bags. So you use some sort of spatula or a paintbrush. I use one of those foam paintbrushes. Painted it on all of the Coca-Cola fabric that you see here. And let it dry. Took a little over 2 days, a little over 1 day to dry. And it makes it kind of like it's waterproof, kind of a little bit like wax canvas. It does make it a little more interesting to sew through. Not hard, just not very flexible fabric anymore. This entire bag took 1 jar of OD Coat. So if you're going to do a bigger bag, you might need another jar. But I think it'll be nice having this bag waterproof, so it's not going to, it won't get wet or anything. I did wash and dry. I had a few scraps of fabric. I did wash and dry it twice to see how it turned out, and it was great. I had no problems with it, and it looked just like it did when I put it in the washer and dryer. So that was nice to know. So to make this bag, when you make bags by Annie, they're not something you're going to do overnight, but they turn out great. Her directions are really good, and they are just really easy to follow directions. And if you have any issues, there's usually a YouTube video you can kind of watch and get kind of familiar with that step or whatever. I used by Annie's Soft and Stable. It's a foamy thing that gives your bag a lot of structure and will stand up by itself. What's nice with this bag on the inside is you can unclip it here. It has this great zipper pocket on the outside. So you've got a big pocket here, pin holder here on the flap, a nice zipper here on to keep the inside contained. And then you've got a mesh pocket inside and a divider pocket, so you can put your tablet or little laptop in, and then another big pocket that has a Velcro closure on it. So lots of pockets in here. Don't worry about the zippers. They are a piece of cake to do the way she has her directions. They're just laid flat on the fabric and you sew it across the tops. Really easy. I love the Sally Tomato zippers. They are 3 yards of number 5 zippers with 9 pulls. And they just work great with these bags for purses and stuff. And then we ordered in for you the Casey Duffel Bag Hardware Kit. So that gives you all of the hardware that you need for this entire bag. We also have here the mesh for the inside pocket and the fold-over elastic that you use for this. When you're doing the mesh on the inside pocket, the mesh is cut at about 14 or something inches wide. And you cut your elastic at about 2 inches smaller than that so that it has a little bit of give to it and keeps your stuff in your pockets a little bit better. And then I also use the elastic here for my pin holders so it matches. When you cut up all of your fabrics for Annie's bags, she has little tabs, and you cut up your fabric, put it on there, so you're making sure you have all of your pieces and everything cut. It's easy to follow. This thing took pretty much an entire day to make, not counting the ironing or doing the OD coat on it. But I love the way it turned out. It does have an adjustable handle here, so you can do a crossbody or anything on it. And then you can also carry it this way. But I think it turned out really, really cute. Love the Coca-Cola fabric. One thing when you're doing this bag, you do need to make sure if you're using a directional print, all of your stuff is going the right direction. You don't want it upside down or something. There are 2 pockets here on the side. And when I was doing this side piece, I didn't want my Coke words going down this way all the way across the bottom and coming up the other side. So I did put a seam in the bottom so it says Coke going down and Coke going down on this side too. So just make sure you pay attention to that if your fabric is that directional. But I think it turned out really cute. I love it. Can't wait to start using it. So this next project I have is called the Sliced Charm Table Runner. I made it with this beautiful Fact Porter pack from Maywood Studios called Flower and Vine. Lots of blues and greens and burgundy colors. I just love this fabric. So this is a nice little table runner I made. Really easy. It went together during one hockey game. And it's a quilt as you go. So you don't have to make it and then go back and quilt it. You cut your fabrics up, lay them onto your backing and your batting, and just sew them on, stitch and flip, sew it down, and you're good to go. And then you just sew this strip in between to cover up your seams, and that's it. Put your binding on, and you're all done. I did go into our Littleton store and buy some of our beautiful grunge fabric, this kind of whatever color this is. I just think it turned out perfect with this fabric. We have plenty of it at our Littleton store, and really great, easy, quick thing you can make. It'd be great in some Christmas fabrics for Christmas table runners, quick little gifts and whatever for everybody. But I think it turned out really pretty and it's nice and fast to make. Okay, this next project we have is by Janine Babbage. We love her stuff. I actually did 2 of her designs this month. It's called Oh Holy Night Wall Hanging. You're getting a little bit of an early start for Christmas because you're never going to get it done if you start it in November. So just buy it now, get it done, and have it ready by Christmas. This design turned out amazing. I think it is just so pretty. Everything is done in one hooping. Each letter and saying is one hooping. The Holy took about 10 or 12 minutes per hooping. The O and the Night took about 25 minutes to do. I used a little bit of scrap fabric that I had left over from my Peppermint Lane quilt for the backing or the borders on it, and it just went together perfectly. Her directions are really great. It tells you how to line up everything. I used poly mesh for the stabilizer, and then I used just a fusible batting inside here. Put a little hanger on the back, a sleeve on the back, so I could put this great little hanger, Classic Motifs craft hanger, and it'll just hang up on the wall during Christmas. So get your Christmas started now, then you'll be ready in November. You won't have to stress out about getting your sewing done. So this next project I have is another Janine Babbage embroidery design. It's called You and Me Tabletop Design. I did not do it as a tabletop design like I usually do, where you have it in that 3 little tri-stand thing. This time I made it as a little wall hanging. My cousin's kid is getting married this Saturday, so this is actually going with me to Mississippi. But it says You and Me Forever, and I just think it's perfect for weddings. I put little triangle things on the back so it'll hold up. You can use it as a wall hanging. These are their colors, the blue and the lilac. You can do it with gold. It'd be great with the lilac parts in gold. Together really quick, about 15 minutes per panel. All done in the hoop, so you can sew it together, turn it inside out, and everything's done in the hoop, or do it like this. It'd be great as a pillow, anything like that. So another quick, easy, beautiful designed by Janine Babbage. So another project that you can get started with early for your Christmas sewing is this design by Fabric Confetti. They're called Ugly Christmas Sweater Mug Rugs and Coasters. They are so cute. I thought I'd get started on some of the Christmas gifts. I didn't get to it, so Mallory got started on hers instead. She made them for me. So there are 6 designs. She made 4 of them, and they're just little mug rugs with ugly sweaters on them. And how cute is this? So a little snowman on this, totally done in the hoop. Takes about an hour to do the fully stitched out embroidery version of it. There are appliques that you can do also, and you can also do them like on a quilt instead of mug rugs. So you do the whole thing. She used OESD fusible woven stabilizer for that, and then some just scraps of batting on the backs of them. You can use fusible fleece, any scraps of batting that you have, and they turn out just really cute. They'd be great for the little kids for Christmas gifts, or just be great gifts for your sewing buddies, your book buddies, whatever. But just, start sewing now. You'll be done before Christmas. You won't have to deal with it in November, and just get going on everything now. And these are just the cutest things ever. This next project I have for you is called Bench Pillows for All Seasons. My daughter just moved out, got her own apartment, and said she needed some table runners for her new table that she bought. And she wanted seasonal ones and then some in some of her colors. So I thought this is perfect for seasonal. There's 12 designs. Good way to get her started on a few things. If you don't want to store 12 table runners, you could make these reversible, have one on one side, another table runner on the other. I didn't quite do that, but we're going to start with January since it's still snowing outside. Here is this lovely little snowman table runner. Snowman is all put together, pieced in the quilted and pieced. These snowflakes are appliqued down. I used the scan and cut to cut them out, and then I appliqued them down with metallic thread. Went together really easy, and I just did some really easy quilting on them. A few little buttons. They actually have you applique down these little tiny buttons. I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. So I found some buttons on there. His nose and his cheeks are just adorable. So you have this cute little snowman guy. And then I thought for 4th of July, a lot of scraps, and you have a great little 4th of July table runner. Really easy to make. These little squares, sawtooth stars went together really quick, really easy, and then just a bunch of scraps for the side pieces. Great little project. Whenever I do table runners, placemats, all that kind of thing, I use this batting. It's called Thermore. It's really thin, lightweight polyester batting, and it works great for table runners. It doesn't make it too thick, so if you set your cup on the edge of something, it's not going to fall off of it, but it's some great stuff. So there are there's 12 table runners in here. This Christmas one is just the cutest thing ever. The Halloween one is 2. We got little witches' hats and pumpkins on there. There's a great one with shamrocks for March. And this Christmas one says Mary, and it's got little ornaments and candles on it. There's a really cute little one with little rain boots and an umbrella. So just some really, really cute designs. So when you're doing applique, I have a great little notion here that's going to help you. It's called the Applique Fusion Mat by Gypsy Quilter. It's a silicone product, and it's great when you're laying out all of your applique pieces for the table runners and the 12 months of table runner bench pillows. You can lay it all onto this, iron it together where it needs to go, and then lay it onto your table runner fabric, and it'll all be fused and ready to go, and it doesn't get fused to your ironing board, because we all know that is a very bad thing. So this little applique mat is a great product for you to use. Okay, this next projects I have are from the book Strip Piece Bargello quilts. I love Bargello quilts. They look amazing, very like optical illusion sort of thing. There's quite a few projects in here. Some of them that I really love that I didn't make. This first one here, Riding the Waves, would make a great runner for your bed. And then there's another one here that is really cool. This purple one, just really, really beautiful quilt. But I just did a couple little table topper things. So the first one is this red and black little table runner for our basement. It only took like 6 fabrics, so it's not too much that you have to round up in your house. When I first was going to make this, I started out with yellow and gray, and then I went with yellow and black, and then I thought that looked like a bumblebee, and then I went to blues, and I'm like, well, I had a lot more blues, so I did it on another project, and then I decided to go with red and gray, and I think it turned out beautiful. Bargello quilts aren't hard to make. You just need to keep everything labeled. You have fabric 1 through 6 or 8 or 10, or one of those was fabric 1 through 35. So just keep everything labeled, and as you're cutting, keep all those labels on it, because you'll go back to strip set 1 and 2 and 3 to make all these different things and make it look like a stair step sort of thing. So nice and easy projects, just keep it all labeled and you'll be fine when you're putting it together. This next one is this beautiful blue tablecloth. They actually had you make a tree skirt, and I already have a tree skirt, and I already have a few tablecloths too, but I really liked the tablecloth thing. So I wanted to do that, and I think it just turned out so pretty. I used the thermal batting inside it, so it'll be nice and thin on my table. It'll drape really nicely over the edge. It was not hard to make at all. Again, just 6 fabrics. Keep your strip sets when you're cutting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you cut this up, you're using a wedge ruler or wedge template. There wasn't a ruler that size. I looked everywhere for one. And you actually have enough to make 2 of these. So I'm going to make another table topper when I'm done with So Fun. To quilt a round circle, you just lay your backing fabric is all one piece, one big square. You do the quilting, and then you trim it up into a circle and do your binding. Your binding does need to be on the bias because it is a circle all the way around, but not a big deal. Just don't stretch it out too much when you're putting it on, and it'll turn out just beautiful like this. So this next project I have for you is called the Totally Centered Apron by Vanilla House Designs. Really cute little apron, went together super fast and hardly takes any fabric. Last October, I went shopping with the girls up in Colorado Springs. A few of our customers in Colorado Springs had a ball. We need to do it again soon, girls. And we went to the outlet fabric store up there, and I walked in, and they had this fabric with the Kellogg cereals on it. And I'm like, that would be such a cute apron. So I bought 1.5 yards of it, and I only needed like 10 inches. So I have 1.5 yards minus 10 inches to still use up. But it just turned out super cute. You do need to make sure this is a directional print, so when you're cutting up your apron, you need to make sure you pay attention to the directions. Then you cut up a couple of little triangles, or one square. You cut it in half, sew it onto each side of this, and you have a triangle apron. I looked all over for a little bowl to put here for a little button. I could not find any, but just turned out really cute little apron. I love the fabric. I love that I had this green in my fabric that matched it. So I did not have to go shopping for anything since I already had my cornflakes fabric here. And it just turned out just adorable and really cute little gift you could get made up, or just make one for you. This next project we have is the Cheval Coat by Liesel and Company. It comes in sizes 0 through 20, so use your Swedish tracing paper to trace out the size you want. I made a size 14 and it fits perfectly. I did make the sleeves a little bit longer, but I always have to do that. It's 3 out of 4 scissors, so it is not a beginner project, but it wasn't super hard either. I've made a few garments, so it wasn't that bad, but it is 3 out of 4 scissors, so don't make this your first clothing option. So I had the fabric at home. I bought it from Colorado Fabrics back in about 2013, but I don't have any lining at home. So I went to Allen's. They're down off of Broadway on Acoma and just 1 block south of Dartmouth. They are a great little shop. They used to be kind of downtown off of Josephine and 6th, but now they're right off Broadway. They have lots of fabric in there, but they had this lining, and it was perfect for it. The coat went together pretty easily. I've never done a fully, totally lined anything before, so it wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't hard, but it wasn't that easy either. But I think it turned out really cool. It fits really well. I totally wimped out. I did snaps on here instead of buttons. I practiced buttons 4 times. I was going to do corded buttonholes on here. Perfect on the samples that I made, but when I tried to go to the coat, it just would not sew it. It just kept jamming up on all these little pieces of the fabric, so I just ramped out, put snaps on. I think they look just fine. It was, so again, I made a size 14. When you're making clothes, you want to make sure you pre-shrink your fabric. Since this is a dry clean only fabric, I did not like pre-shrink it, so hopefully it'll fit when I get it cleaned again. But I think it turned out really great. Just again, it's a little challenging, but it wasn't hard at all. So hopefully you guys will all be able to make one. Okay, so just a few little notions we have for you. This literally just got here, so we haven't got it made up yet. We'll have it at the store for you to see next week. It's called a Free Motion Quilting Skill Builder panel by Renee Allen. So it's got all these different sections of a quilt that you can practice your free motion quilting on. So you've got some little feathers here, some ribbons, flowers, all sorts of different things. You just quilt on the lines and practice your quilting with it. So it'll be a great thing just to add a few things into your repertoire of what you can quilt. Practice following the lines sometimes is easier than just free motioning. But we will get it quilted up for you so you can see it in the stores next week. So this book by Amanda Murphy is a great book that shows you different kinds of quilting designs. Sometimes you just get in a rut, always do the same quilting thing because you just know what to do. This book shows you how to do different quilting designs in different blocks. So here we have a diamond and a square quilt block with some quilting ideas for it. There's lots of different quilt blocks in here, a wonky star with different ideas you can quilt in it, whirligigs. My favorite quilt block, the sawtooth star with some different ideas for quilting. There's pinwheel designs, pineapple designs, just lots of different very practical quilt blocks with designs that go with it. So if you are always doing the same thing, get this book and it'll kind of give you more ideas on ways to quilt your stuff. Okay, this is the Convex Illusion Quilt by Quilt Art. When you're making quilts that give you some sort of illusion, optical illusion sort of thing, you really have to have good color choices. So my first option was these outside colors here and this blue and yellow for the center. As you can imagine, it did not go well. So plot change, picked out this blue, which is part of my other squares, and it looks so different and so much better. So that little yellow and blue thing will become another table topper. This is my new quilt. This is basically a Bargello quilt, just like my other two are. You have to be really careful when you're cutting this. Some of these pieces are 3/4 of an inch wide, so 0.75 inches wide. So there is very little room for mistakes. I used a bit of spray starch on this. Some Best Press is your best friend with this quilt. With these little tiny pieces, you really got to make sure they're straight and accurate. When you're cutting these squares up, they're just 2-inch squares sewn together, then cut in half on the diagonal. So you've got a lot of diagonal pieces going across here. And then these guys are some big diagonal pieces. So lots of Best Press will make this turn out really nice. If you don't understand the directions, they were pretty good, but some parts it's like, you're looking at it like, what does this mean? There are videos to walk you through the entire quilt. There's 9 videos. It even goes over quilting. I did not follow their directions for quilting. I did something totally different. But I think the thing turned out really cool. I love the optical illusion of it, but these little pieces here are 3/4 of an inch big. So make sure you cut really, really well, really straight, and piece really good with your 1/4 inch foot. When you do these corners here, you actually doing this kind of by hand applique, but it turned out really cool. It's not a fast quilt to make, but it was not hard at all. So hope you enjoy making one. So this next quilt is called Exploding Heart by Slice of Pie Quilts. I did it all with scraps. Everything is out of my scrap baskets. I have all my scraps organized in little shoebox containers by color. When you're cutting out a 5-inch scrap of each piece in your little shoebox, you don't get rid of very many pieces of fabric. But some of my boxes will now at least close. The tops of them will close. So you make, some of them are solid squares. Then you have some half square triangles. You have some half square triangles with 2 pieces, and then some quarter square triangles. So lots of squaring up with this, unless you're using an AccuCutter. I didn't use my AccuCutter. I didn't have the right dies for it. So I used the Quilter Select 4.5-inch square up ruler to square all these up. It's great because it has that great stuff that they put on the back of the ruler so it doesn't slide around when you're cutting. And you just lay it on your quilt square, trim it up to where it needs to be, and you're ready to roll. And I just did some wavy line quilting on it. When you're doing all the scraps and you're using even scraps for the background, you want to make sure that some of your scraps don't look too dark or too light, because part of this, somewhere in here, these are a little bit darker, so you kind of lose, you have to really pay attention to get the whole heart look going. But I love all the scraps, all the colors in it. These would be great for wedding quilts if you've got some kids getting married this year, or older people, whatever. Do them in their colors of their wedding. 2 or 3 color quilts are really great with this fabric. You can still use all your scraps, but just do a few less colors. But a really nice, great scrap buster quilt, and it's really fun to make. So this next quilt is called Lickety Split by Villa Rosa Designs. They're the little postcard pattern, so they're really a quick project to make up. I again used lots of scraps to make this. I first started out doing all of these triangle or rectangle pieces with lots of different colors. Did not like that look. It was too much going on. So I just changed to all blues because I have a lot of blue scraps in my house. It's going to be a charity quilt. So when you're doing charity quilts, it's a nice way to practice some of your quilting. Go through that Amanda Murphy book. Do some little practice quilting on it. So you got different sections here where it gives you different things different backgrounds to start quilting in. Super easy to put this puppy together. Didn't take very much time at all, but it's a great way to get rid of your scraps, and it'll be a great charity quilt for somebody. So this last quilt is called Radiant Stars by Material Girlfriend. I love star quilt patterns, and this is just a little bit of a different star, so it was just a nice little project for me. Last time I did So Fun, we had that beautiful ombre fat quarter pack that I use for a quilt. These are some of the scraps from it. I just love the way you've got a little bit of different color in each of these stars. If you could see the whole thing, which you will be able to see in the stores soon, they just kind of go in a diagonal across here. It was easy to put together. I love just everything about this quilt. It just turned out beautiful. So hopefully you'll like it too. So thanks for watching. We'd love to see you in the store. Stop by May 16th through June 12th. We will have 2 OESD design packs available for you, 50% off. They are surprises, so you have to come into the store to see what they are. Bring any samples of anything else you've sewn up. We'd love to see your projects. We'd love to see you. Can't wait till we start doing this again in person. And thanks for watching. We'll see you again in August.